Hello, my name is Paula. I'm a knitwear designer from Finland, and in this video I'm going to show you how to knit this hoop top. This top pattern comes with three options for the neckline. So this one that I'm wearing at the moment has the boat neck, and then there is a version for a scoop neck, so with a little bit rounder neckline, also with stripes, and then there is a version for a V-neck. So with one pattern, you will actually get three patterns. The hoop top is available on my website, paulanits.com, and also in my Ravelry store. I'll put the links here below. The hoop top can be knitted with DK weight yarn, roughly. I have used Sonnes Garn Line and also Drops Bell for my samples, and I think they're both just lovely summer yarns. So this will totally be a quick project for your summer wardrobe. In addition to the neckline shaping, there is also short row shaping on the back, so you will get a really nice fit for your back of the top, so it will sit really nicely. It's not difficult at all. I'm showing in this video also how to do that, how to do the short rows, so don't be afraid of that. You will totally be able to do it. And if you want to, you can also add bust shaping for the top. So I have added bust stars to the top shaping, so you will get a little bit more fabric on the front of your top with short rows done on the front side of the top. So in the pattern, I have three options for the bust shaping for three different cup sizes. There is B, D, and F cup. And depending on the size you choose to do, you will add more short rows on the front. And in the pattern, you will also get instructions how to measure or how to determine the right size for your bust darts. The whole point of making the bust shaping, since this is quite fitted top, it has just none or a little bit of positive ease, depending on how loose you want it to be. And I have done bust shapings for this top. You can see how it sits on the same levels. The top part is not rising like this. So if I didn't have the bust stars here, it would rise up and the back part would be longer. Or I would have to knit the whole body longer in order to get the right length from the front side. So I totally recommend you to try on the bust stars and see for yourself. In this video, there's also instructions for how to do those bust stars. There is a different short row shaping for the bust stars, and it's not difficult at all. This top is knitted from the top down. You will start with the shoulder straps. You knit a little bit of each and shape them with the short rows. Then you join them together from the back, from here, and then you will knit the back part of it. First flat, and add increases for the armholes. Then you will pick up stitches from the front, from one shoulder at a time, and start increasing depending on the neckline you have chosen. You will either do first the entire neckline shaping, join the front in flat, and then at some point start do increases for the armholes, or you will do them simultaneously. As for this V-neck version, you will do both at the same time. But there are instructions in the pattern how to do that in your size. And when you have knitted the front in flat until the armholes, you will join the work in the round and then start knitting the hem. And depending on whether you want to do the bust stars, you will knit first a couple of centimeters after you have joined in the round, and then you will do the bust stars, and then you will continue in the round until the hem is your desired length. For all the edging, you will use I-cord technique. I will show that as well in this video. For the hem, you will do it with the stitches you already have on your needles, and for the armholes and the neckline, you will pick up stitches and then do the I-cord afterwards. If you're making the bust stars, I recommend you complete first the I-cord for the neckline and also for the armholes before starting the bust stars. If you want to, you can pre-block it as well at that point, so that you know how the top is sitting on your body and on your bust, and you will determine how and at which point you need to start doing the bust starts. That's all about the constructions of the top. before we start with the actual tutorial. And before that, I will show you how the different necklines look on me. This is the scoop neck version, and you can see it has a little bit rounder, deeper neckline, but it's still quite high. Not as high as in that red boat neck version. And this is the V-neck version. I think the V-neck is nice and not too deep and not too high. It suits this top really nicely. But that's all for now. Now let's get into the actual tutorial. For this project, I recommend linen blend yarns. The first one here is Drops Bell, and the second one is Sandisgarn Line, and they have the same composition, and both are DK weight yarns. For the needles, I recommend using 4mm or US 6 needles, or according to the gauge, which is 20 stitches per inch or 10 centimeters. Then you'll need scrap yarn or these needle cords so you can move stitches around. And of course, a few stitch markers. This top is knitted from the top down, and you start with the shoulder straps and the back piece. First you knit one shoulder strap or the beginning of it, and then shape it with short rows. Here you can see the shaping. Then you do the same for the other shoulder, and then it's time to join the back piece together. Okay, so let's begin and start with the cast on. You can use whatever cast on method you like. I recommend using the long tail cast on. You cast on the amount of stitches required in your size, and then you purl one row before we start with the short row shaping. Now you'll start with short row shapings. First, knit 3, then turn your work, and we'll make a double stitch. Keep the yarn in front of the work and slip the first stitch onto the right hand needle without knitting it. Like this. Then bring the yarn over the right needle to the back of the work and tighten it so that the stitch from the previous row lifts onto the needle. Then you'll purl and make one left purled. Pick up the bar between the last stitch and the next stitch you have and lift it to your left hand needle. Then, since we're purling this, you need to purl from the back of the lifted stitch. And here I have shown you how you can lift it. So it might be a bit fiddly at first, but you basically lift it and purl it to the back. Then you purl the last stitch. And that's how you do the short rows in this pattern. I'll show you one more time how you go about on the right side of the work. So now we are on the right side, and you need to knit until you reach the double stitch that we just made. You knit the double stitch as one stitch, or if you're on the wrong side, you'll purl. Then you'll knit one and turn the work, and then you'll make a double stitch again. And after the double stitch, you purl until you have one stitch left, and then you'll make one left purled stitch again. Like this. Now you have done 2 short rows for the shoulder seam, and you'll continue until you have done all the short rows for this first shoulder seam. This is what the shoulder strap should look like, and now you cut the yarn and go for the other one. For the left shoulder strap, you'll cast on stitches as you did for the first one. But unlike on the first shoulder strap, you purl and knit one row here. Then we'll start with the short row shaping from the wrong side of the work. And here again, you'll purl first, 3 stitches, then you'll turn the work, make a double stitch, and knit until you have 1 stitch left, and then you'll make one right. So you lift the bar between the stitches and knit it from the front. So this way you won't end up with a hole. So this is a right leaning increase, and after that you will knit the last stitch of the row. And from here on, you will continue with the short rows as instructed in the pattern. Next is time to join the back pieces together. So this one on the needles was your left side, and on your previous needles you had the right side. And between these 2 panels, we will cast on stitches. Here you can use, again, long tail cast on or your preferred cast on method. And you'll cast on stitches as many times as said in the pattern. Now all stitches have been casted on, and it's time to join the back pieces together. And that happens just by knitting the other shoulder seam stitches onto the same needles, your right side facing up. From here you'll knit 8, and then you will make a double stitch and start the short row shaping for the back piece as a one piece. To avoid fiddling with 2 set of needles, I recommend moving your last stitches from the row to same needles, so you can use just 1 set of needles for this part of the work. Makes it a lot easier. So you turn the work, make a double stitch, and purl all the way back to the first double stitch you will encounter on the other shoulder strap. So purl all the way across the casted on stitches, and then when you encounter the double stitch, you will purl that together as a one stitch. And here is the first double stitch. You will purl that, or if you're on the right side, you will knit it as one, and then you will knit one or purl one, and then turn the work and make another double stitch. And like this, you will continue shaping the back piece with these short rows as many times as the pattern recommends for your size. So you'll go back and forth, purling and knitting the back piece until all the short rows have been done. Here I have made all the short rows for my size, and this is how the back piece looks now. So here will be the neckline, and you will continue knitting in stockinette stitch without increases for a while for the back piece, and then start increasing for the armholes. Here I have worked the back piece in stockinette stitch until it's time for, in my size, to start making increases for both sides of the work. From here on, you will make increases in the beginning and at the end of the row on every right side row. Increases are made after 3 first stitches of the row and before the last 3 stitches of the row. You can add stitch markers here if that helps. At the beginning of the row, knit your first 3 stitches and slip your marker if you have one. And then it's time to increase. And first you'll make one left, since we want a left-leaning increase. So you will lift the bar between the stitches and knit it through back loop, like this. Then you'll knit the entire row until you have 3 stitches left. Now we're at the end of the row. Before the marker, you will lift the bar and make one right. So we want a right leaning increase here before the marker. Then we will slip the marker and knit those last 3 stitches. And you will continue like this, increasing on the right side of the work until all the increases are made for your size. Here I have worked all the increases for my size, and it's time to cut the yarn and continue with the front piece. For the front piece, you will pick up stitches from the cast on seam and start working increases first on the right side and then on the left side. Here I have put my back piece stitches on hold on a stitch holding cable, and now I will pick up stitches from the cast on edge from my right shoulder panel. You'll start picking up stitches from the cast on edge. Make sure to pick up both legs of the stitch so that you'll get an even seam for the pickup line. And then you'll pick up as many stitches as set in the pattern. Then, depending on the pattern you're making, so if you're making a V-neck, you have different amount of increases than for the scoop neck or the boat neck. So depending on the pattern, you will knit additional rows here in stockinette without any increases yet. Here I'm making the boat neck version, and for this one I have now made all the stockinette rows, and I will add a stitch marker 3 stitches from the neckline edge. This will be my first increase row on the right side of the work, and I will knit until the marker, and then I will make one right, since I want a right knitting increase. Then I'll slip the stitch and knit the rest of the row. And from here on, I will make increases only on the right side of the work, as many times as the pattern says, and on the wrong side of the work, I will purl. Depending on the neckline you have chosen, you will have different amounts of increases on the neckline. Here I have done all the increases for my boat neck, and I will leave these stitches on hold and continue to the left side of the front panel, after which we will join the front panel at the neckline. Here I have done all the increases for the left side, and it's time to join the front panel and cast on stitches on the wrong side of the work. And here again, you can use your preferred cast on method, and at this point you can also remove the stitch markers from the neckline and cast on all the stitches you need for your neckline. And after casting on all the stitches, you will simply purl all the other side stitches to the same needles. And that's how you have joined the front piece as one. Next, you'll start shaping the front piece as you did for the back piece. So you will continue in stockinette stitch without increases for a while, and then depending on your size, you will start increasing in the similar manner as you did for the back piece. Here I have done all the front piece increases, and it's time to join the whole work in the round and join the body by casting on stitches for your underarms and then knitting all your back piece stitches to the same needles, and then casting on stitches for your other underarm, and then you have joined the work in the round. After joining the body in the round, if you like to make the bust starts, so bust shaping for your top, I recommend knitting roughly 2 to 4 centimeters and then start placing the bust starts for your knit. For the bust starts, I recommend placing removable stitch markers onto your work. So as you can see here, they are on the front of the body and between your bust and your armpit. So depending on the size or the cup size you want to make the bust stars for, in this pattern I have examples for B, D, and F cup. It depends on the size how many markers you need to place on the front side of the work. These markers will tell you when to basically make a double stitch and turn the work so that you will knit back and forth, making extra space for your bust with short row shapings. To make the bust stars, you will knit from your first armhole all the way down to the second bust and to the first marker. In the pattern, it will state which one of the markers it is. We'll remove the marker and make a shadow wrap. You'll pick up the right arm of the first stitch, then you will knit it and move it back to the left hand needle. Now you have made the first shadow wrap turn. And now you'll turn the work and purl all the way until you reach the next marker, which will be on your second bust. So that was the shadow wrap turn on the right side of the work. And now we are continuing to the wrong side of the work, and I'll show you how it's purled. Remove the marker when you reach the spot where you're supposed to do the shadow wrap turn on the wrong side. Then slip the first stitch to your right hand needle, and with yarn in front, take the leg underneath it and purl it. Then slip both of the stitches to your left hand needle and turn your work. Now you have done both sides of the shadow wrap short rows, so on the right side and on the wrong side of the work, so purled and knit versions, and you will keep on making these shadow wrap turns on the front of your body as many times as you have stitch markers marked on your work. As you continue making the shadow wrap turns, you will remove eventually all the stitch markers from your front side. And this is how the bust stars will show in your work. So they are these quite seamless vertical lines next to your armpits. And now that all the bust stars are done, you will continue knitting in the round without any shapings until you have knitted the desired length for the body and you are ready to make the I-cords for the hem. The I-cords are worked in the same way for the neckline, for the armholes, and also for the hem. For the neckline and for the armholes, you need to pick up stitches, but for the hem, you just use the stitches you have on the needles and work the I-cords in a similar way. Here I have already done the I-cord for the neckline, and next we're about to make the I-cord for my first armhole. You'll start by picking up and knitting your stitches for the armhole. So take your working yarn and start picking up stitches from the middle of your armhole. And the recommended rate for picking up stitches is to pick up and knit 2 stitches for every 3 stitches or every 3 rows. And with this rate, you'll go on and pick up and knit stitches for the entire armhole until you reach the point where you started. Now I have picked up all the stitches for my armhole, and it's time to cast on 2 stitches, since this is a 2-stitch I-cord, and you will cast on those stitches onto your right hand needle like this. After you have casted on those stitches, you will move those 2 cast on stitches to your left hand needle like this. And now you'll start the I-cord by knitting the first stitch, and then you knit the second stitch you cast it on, but you knit it together through the back loop of the next stitch you have picked up on, like this. Then you'll move the 2 stitches back to the left hand needle, knit the first stitch, and knit the second stitch and the third stitch through the back loop, and then move it back to your left hand needle and start all over again. And by repeating this, you will go through all the stitches you have picked up for the armhole until you have 2 stitches left. These 2 stitches you will just bind off and cut the yarn. Then the last thing to do is to graft the ends of the I-cord together. So using your tapestry needle, you need to go on and graft those 2 ends together. So pick up 2 legs on the same side of the I-cord as your cast off edge. Then pick up 2 legs from the same side from the other side of the I-cord, tighten, and then go to the next 2 legs of the next 2 stitches and go back and pick up the next 2 stitches from the beginning, tighten, and then weave in the ends to the back side of the work. This way you'll get a neat finish for your I-cord. A little note on the I-cords overall. The tightness of the I-cord affects the fit of the neckline and armholes. So for a looser fit, work the I-cord loosely. For a tighter fit, work it more firmly. So even though the pickup rate for the stitches is the same, depending on your gauge and how tight you knit, it might affect the I-cord. So be aware of how tight you're making the I-cord as you go. And if needed, pick up more stitches or pick up less stitches depending on your gauge. And when it comes to the hemline I-cord, You do the same thing as you did for the armholes and the neckline, but you already have the stitches on your needles, of course. So you go on and cast on 2 stitches from the beginning of the row and then start working the I-cord as you did for the neckline and hem. So it doesn't differ that much. You already have picked up the stitches, so it's an easy way to go. And that was the tutorial for my hoop top. The pattern is available on my web store and also on my Ravelry store. I'll put the links here below. I hope this tutorial was helpful and that you will knit as many hoop tops as I have. Bye!